I had this dream on 4/19/09, and this is how it starts. Last night I had a dream. I was coming out of this building, and when I got downstairs, I was walking, and I had lost track of Elijah. He had walked off from me across the street. When I realized he was gone, a girl said, "I got him," because I had started heading that way. Then I walked across the street, and I came over by me. So I tried to grab Elijah's hand, but I ended up grabbing this girl that looked like Maria, Nick's ex-wife, but it wasn't her, and she didn't say anything while I was holding her wrist. Then I actually got Elijah, and Maria was behind him, and she got extremely close to me. And while she was talking, her lips were on mine. And it says like lips is like it's not actually a sexual thing or anything like that. It's just like a connection. You know what I'm saying? It's a spiritual connection. And let me see here. She said, since you have changed, meaning changing to serve Christ, you are such a turn on to me. And I asked her, what is it about my change that does that? Then she told me, well, that's how I feel about you, and if you want to talk to me, then just make the first move. And I told her, okay, I will call you. Then she told me her daughter had died, and I told her I will pray for her, and believe me, little kids like that go straight to heaven. Maria and her sister were going into a restaurant, and I went to an eating section across the street and sat down in the food court. There was a movie theater to my left, but they were showing a free movie to my right. So I just sat there and watched that. Then I left and went to this other place, and on the way, this guy was telling me about this flood that came upon the people, and I could see a visual picture in my head, and it looked pretty scary. The flood was going downwards, and if anyone was caught up in the flood, it would be hard to survive it because the water was deep, and you would be going down into the water with force. Then my mother, Elijah, and I were walking around this building, and it was kind of like we could go all around this place and socialize and have fun. Then we came to this one room, and we were playing in this room, but something made my mother throw up on the floor. Then this old white man came out of the back room, and we didn't know, and it was because of the smell. It was like the smell. That's why she threw up. It was because of the smell. It didn't smell good in there. And so he came out of the back room, and we didn't know this man, that someone lived here. So the man came out, and he saw my mother had threw up on his floor, and I said, we didn't know this is where you lived, and I'll clean up this throw up. But the man was still mad and said, I hate niggers. Then he came at us to attack us, and I held him off. He was trying to stab me with a screwdriver, and while I was wrestling with him, I said, Jesus, please help us. Save us, Lord. And I kept saying this over and over. Then my mother and Elijah were able to leave the room, and they went to the elevator. So the dude let me go too, and when he went back into his room, he just kept saying, I hate niggers, I hate niggers. You know what I'm saying? Just kept saying it. Then I left out of there, and it was daytime, and I was in his neighborhood. It kind of looked like the projects, and all of his neighbors were black people. When I was right outside of the man's gates, I said one of the old white man's neighbors. I said to one of the old white man's neighbors, and I saw her, and she was a bright-skinned black woman. As soon as I saw her, I said, did you know your neighbor over there said he hates niggers? And I said it out loud to where everyone in the area could hear it. Then I kept walking, and the old white man came outside and was still trying to stab me with the screwdriver. Then I shouted, "Have mercy on him, Lord. God bless his soul." And I kept saying this over and over with fire in my heart. And the man threw the screwdriver away and came up to me and shook my hand. Then after he did that, I wanted to give God praise for turning this hostile situation to a peaceful one. So I started clapping, and then the crowd of people around started clapping. Then I saw the old white man frown up a little bit like he was getting offended. So I told the crowd to stop clapping, and they did. Then the man walked off back to his house. Then I ended back up in the building towards the top, and I was calling my mother to see where they were at and to set up a plan to meet up. But my mother's cell phone was going dead, and I was having trouble talking to her on the phone. But I knew they were on the 4th floor. So since I couldn't get in touch with them, I went to this gym, and it was dark in there, but it was light on the court. So while we were playing, it kind of seemed like a tryout, but girls were out there too. So we were playing, and one of the girls out there blew her knee out. Then preacher opened the door and asked me, "Why are you playing right now when you should be with them?" And talking about my mom and my son. And he was upset with me. Then I told him I couldn't get my mama on the phone, so I came and played. Then preacher shook his head in disapproval, and we went to the elevator with my mother and Elijah. The first part of the dream, that was that part, but I missed the whole first part. The first part of the dream, where it started out completely, was the first part of the dream was I was in this house, and some of the guests in my house had brought a lot more friends with them that I didn't know. So somehow I didn't trust them, and our house ended up getting shot at with machine guns. As the people were shooting in the house, some people like my granny Bernice, Aunt Norma, and someone else, they froze up. They couldn't move. I told Aunt Norma, "Get your ass down." You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, "Damn, they shooting at us. Don't freeze up. Get down." You know what I'm saying? I don't want to talk to her like I'm dead serious, though. And I went and pulled her down and was going through the crowd of people, pulling them to the floor because they froze up. Then after the shooting stopped, I told one of the guys that invited these people, "We have to upgrade our security, and you will have to be replaced if you don't get it right." All right, so let's go from the first part of the dream. I say, this is God's house, you know what I'm saying, and I'm one of the people that has to watch over this house. So I have to keep everything in line, you know what I'm saying, by the Lord's will, by whatever he says to do, not what I say. And so it's a lot of people coming to this house. They're all, so cause you got the core people that me and the Untouchables and the Christians who they've invited, you know what I'm saying, and they're inviting people in the extensions of that, that we really don't even know. And, but we say everybody can come. So, but we're going to have to, something is going to happen, or I hope it doesn't, but seems like something's going to happen that's going to make us say, hey, well, everybody can't just come in like that. You know what I'm saying? We're going to have to do something to upgrade our security system because we can't have another attack like this. Also, you see more of my role as a person of a protector for the people because, you know what I'm saying, if I don't go through the crowds and snatch these people down, you know what I'm saying, that's been froze up, it's gonna be, you know what I'm saying, they're gonna die, they're gonna get shot up, you know what I'm saying, and so that's just my role, you know what I'm saying. I'm happy to do it. Let me see here. Let's see. Clapping. Of course, we got the man, you know what I'm saying. We see how the nonviolent attitude, you know what I'm saying, how it's suppressed. This man's rage and anger that he's probably had from generations, you know what I'm saying, of black people. He doesn't like them. He hates them. He says he hates niggers. You know what I'm saying? Not niggas, niggers. He hates them. And so, you know what I'm saying? So I show him a different side. Not only do I bless him, you know what I'm saying? I don't just, you know what I'm saying, I don't go back at him. I don't feed his hate, his rage, his rage, his anger. I feed, you know what I'm saying, his inner soul. You know what I'm saying? And